Which was the first European country to abolish capital punishment? Norway.
Norway was the first European country to formally abolish capital punishment for ordinary crimes in 1902. This move marked a significant step towards a more humane justice system and influenced similar reforms in other European nations.
Who became commanding general of the 1st Armored Corps in 1941? George Patton.
George Patton assumed command of the 1st Armored Corps in 1941, playing a critical role in preparing the unit for World War II. His leadership and tactical acumen were pivotal throughout the war effort.
Where did Ferdinand Marcos live in exile? Hawaii.
Ferdinand Marcos, the former president of the Philippines, lived in exile in Hawaii after being ousted from power in 1986. His exile marked the end of his long and controversial rule.
Which American led the expedition that successfully placed 10 individuals on the summit of Mount Everest in 1990? James Whittaker.
James Whittaker, an American mountaineer, led the 1990 expedition that achieved the feat of putting 10 people on the summit of Mount Everest. This accomplishment highlights American contributions to Himalayan mountaineering.
Over which country did the aircraft carrying United Nations Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld crash, resulting in his death? Congo.
Dag Hammarskjöld, the second Secretary General of the United Nations, died in a plane crash in 1961 over present-day Zambia, then Northern Rhodesia, while on a peacekeeping mission related to the Congo crisis.
What is the title of the autobiography authored by the first president of a post-apartheid South Africa? Long Walk to Freedom.
Long Walk to Freedom is the autobiography of Nelson Mandela, the first president of South Africa elected in a fully representative democratic election. The book details his life, including his imprisonment for his activism against apartheid.
Which terrorist organization was responsible for the assassination of Italian Prime Minister Aldo Moro? Red Brigade.
The Red Brigades, Brigate Ross, were a far-left Italian terrorist group active from the 1970s to the 1980s. They kidnapped and assassinated Aldo Moro, the then Prime Minister of Italy, in 1978, marking a significant period of political violence in Italy.
In 1989, General Boris Gromov was the last Soviet soldier to depart from which country? Afghanistan.
General Boris Gromov commanded the 40th Army of the Soviet Union in Afghanistan during the Soviet-Afghan War. His departure in 1989 symbolized the end of the Soviet Union's decade-long military involvement in Afghanistan, a conflict that had significant geopolitical consequences.
In what year did Saddam Hussein assume the presidency of Iraq? 1979.
Saddam Hussein formally became president of Iraq in 1979, succeeding Ahmad Hassan al-Bakr. His rise to power marked the beginning of a long period of authoritarian rule characterized by wars and internal repression.
Who assumed the position of chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in 1989? Colin Powell.
Colin Powell became the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in 1989, serving under President George H.W. Bush. He was the first African American to hold this position, marking a significant milestone in the U.S. military.
Who became the leader of the Bosnian Serbs in 1992? Radovan Karadzic.
Radovan Karadzic emerged as the leader of the Bosnian Serbs during the Bosnian War in the early 1990s. He was later convicted of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity by the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia.
Who served as the deputy commander of the United States' invasion of Grenada in 1983? Norman Schwarzkopf.
General Norman Schwarzkopf served as the deputy commander during Operation Urgent Fury, the US-led invasion of Grenada in 1983. He is best known for his role as the commander of coalition forces during the Persian Gulf War.
Who is the author of the Green Book? Colonel Gaddafi.
Muammar Gaddafi's Green Book, first published in 1975, outlines his political philosophy and a unique system of governance called the Third International Theory. It critiques both capitalism and communism, advocating for a unique form of Islamic socialism.
What was the given name of Mother Teresa? Agnes.
Mother Teresa, renowned for her charitable work in India, was born Agnes Gonxa Boiagiu in Skopje, Ottoman Empire, now North Macedonia. She founded the Missionaries of Charity in 1950, dedicating her life to serving the poorest of the poor.
Who was the first American to become a world chess champion? Bobby Fischer.
Bobby Fischer became the first and only American-born world chess champion in 1972, defeating Boris Spassky of the Soviet Union. His victory marked a significant moment in Cold War cultural history.
Who served as the chairman of the Watergate hearings? Sam Ervin.
Senator Sam Ervin chaired the Senate Select Committee on Presidential Campaign Activities, commonly known as the Watergate Committee. His investigation played a crucial role in uncovering the Watergate scandal and ultimately led to President Richard Nixon's resignation.
Who was the first African American to receive the Nobel Peace Prize? Ralph Johnson Bunche.
Ralph Johnson Bunche, an American diplomat and academic, received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1950 for his mediation work in the Arab-Israeli conflict. His work with the United Nations was instrumental in decolonization.
Who is credited with the quote, "It is better to die on your feet than live on your knees"? Emiliano Zapata.
Emiliano Zapata was a leading figure in the Mexican Revolution, advocating for agrarian reform and the rights of peasants. His famous quote encapsulates his revolutionary spirit and defiance against oppression.
In what year did Tanganyika and Zanzibar unite to establish the nation of Tanzania? 1964.
Tanganyika and Zanzibar merged in 1964 to form the United Republic of Tanzania. This unification marked a significant moment in African post-colonial history, consolidating two newly independent states into a single entity.
During which decade did automotive pioneer Henry Ford pass away? 1940s.
Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford Motor Company and a key figure in the development of mass production, died in 1947. His advancements revolutionized the automotive industry and had a profound impact on 20th century manufacturing.
When was field hockey first included as an Olympic event for men? 1908.
Field hockey was introduced as an Olympic sport for men at the 1908 Summer Olympics held in London. It was subsequently excluded and then reintroduced in 1920, becoming a regular fixture from 1928 onwards.
Which state commemorated its centennial anniversary of joining the Union in 1921? Missouri.
Missouri joined the United States as the 24th state in 1821. The state's strategic location along the Mississippi River contributed significantly to its early growth and development.
Who invented the world's first data processing machine? Herman Hollerith.
Herman Hollerith invented the tabulating machine in the late 19th century, which revolutionized data processing. His invention was instrumental in automating census calculations, leading to the formation of IBM.
What is the most common street name in the UK? High Street.
High Street is the most common street name in the UK, reflecting its historical significance as the primary commercial thoroughfare in towns and cities. The prevalence of High Street underscores its central role in the local economy and community life.
In which country is Bujumbura International Airport located? Burundi.
Bujumbura International Airport is located in Burundi, East Africa. It serves as the primary airport for the country's capital city, Bujumbura, facilitating both domestic and international travel.
To the nearest 10,000 square miles, what is the area of Utah? 80,000 square miles.
Utah's area is approximately 82,168 square miles. This makes it the 13th largest state in the United States by area, contributing significantly to the diverse geography of the American West.
In what year was the centennial anniversary of Illinois joining the Union celebrated? 1918.
Illinois was admitted to the Union as the 21st state on December 3, 1818. The centennial anniversary, marking 100 years of statehood, was thus celebrated in 1918.
What was the nationality of Mother Teresa's parents? Albanian.
Mother Teresa, though born in Skopje, present-day North Macedonia, was of Albanian descent. Her parents, Nikol and Drana Boyagiu, were both Albanian.
What are the international registration letters for vehicles originating from the Bahamas? BS.
International registration letters are used to identify the country of origin of a vehicle. These codes are standardized and used on vehicle registration plates internationally.
Which philosopher authored Eros and Civilization and One-Dimensional Man? Herbert Marcuse.
Herbert Marcuse was a prominent philosopher and sociologist associated with the Frankfurt School. Eros and Civilization and One-Dimensional Man are two of his most influential works critiquing modern society and culture.
What is the approximate area of the state of Pennsylvania, rounded to the nearest 10,000 square miles? 44,820 square miles.
Pennsylvania is located in the northeastern United States, bordered by several other states. Its economy includes agriculture, manufacturing, and service sectors.
What are the international registration letters for vehicles originating from Sri Lanka? CL.
International registration letters are used to identify the country of origin of a vehicle. These codes are standardized and used on vehicle registration plates internationally.
In what year did Count Basie pass away? 1984.
Count Basie was a highly influential American jazz pianist, organist, bandleader, and composer. His orchestra helped define the swing era of jazz.
Which bridge serves as the central subject of Hart Crane's poem, The Bridge? Brooklyn Bridge.
Hart Crane's The Bridge is an epic poem that uses the Brooklyn Bridge as a symbol of American identity and technological achievement. The poem explores themes of connection, history, and modernity.
In which state of the USA does the largest population of Cree Indians reside? Montana.
Montana has a significant Cree population, primarily due to historical migration patterns. Understanding indigenous demographics is crucial for analyzing socio-economic and political factors within the United States.
Who is the author of the novel, Watership Down? Richard Adams.
Richard Adams is the author of Watership Down, a classic allegorical fantasy novel published in 1972. The novel explores themes of freedom, leadership, and survival through the story of a group of rabbits.
Who served as the Prime Minister of Australia from 1983 to 1991? Bob Hawke.
Bob Hawke served as the Prime Minister of Australia from 1983 to 1991, leading the Australian Labor Party. His tenure was marked by significant economic reforms and social policy changes in Australia.
On which river is the Kariba Dam constructed? Zambezi.
The Kariba Dam, completed in 1959, is located on the Zambezi River, forming Lake Kariba. It is a major source of hydroelectric power for both Zambia and Zimbabwe.
Vehicles from which country use the international registration letter P? Portugal.
International vehicle registration codes are used to identify the country of origin of motor vehicles. Portugal is assigned the letter P under the international standard ISO 3166.
Which British liner was sunk by a German submarine in 1915? Lusitania.
The RMS Lusitania, a British ocean liner, was sunk by a German U-boat in May 1915 during World War I, contributing to rising tensions between the United States and Germany.
Vehicles originating from which nation are identified by the international registration letter S? Sweden.
Sweden's international registration letter is S, used on vehicles to identify their country of origin as per international conventions facilitating cross-border traffic.
Adulyadej Bhumibol, born in the United States, ascended to the throne of which Asian nation? Thailand.
Bhumibol Adulyadej, also known as Rama IX, reigned as the king of Thailand from 1946 to 2016, becoming the longest reigning Thai monarch in history. He was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Which country is located immediately to the south of Estonia? Latvia.
Latvia is situated directly south of Estonia, both being Baltic states. Their proximity and shared history in the Baltic region make this a notable geographical relationship.
In which year was the University of Alaska Anchorage founded? 1954.
The University of Alaska Anchorage was established in 1954. It has grown to become a prominent institution of higher learning in Alaska, playing a crucial role in education and research in the region.
In which country is Calabar International Airport located? Nigeria.
Calabar International Airport serves Calabar, the capital city of Cross River State in Nigeria. Airports are crucial infrastructure influencing economic and social development within a country and its regions.
From which country did Thor Heyerdahl's Kon-Tiki raft embark on its voyage to eastern Polynesia? Peru.
The Kon-Tiki expedition, led by Thor Heyerdahl in 1947, sailed from Peru to prove that South Americans could have settled Polynesia. The voyage was significant in demonstrating the possibilities of ancient maritime travel and cultural exchange.
Which element is named in honor of Pierre and Marie Curie? Curium.
Curium, Cm, is a synthetic radioactive element named after Pierre and Marie Curie, pioneers in radioactivity research. It is a transuranic element, typically produced in nuclear reactors, and has limited uses due to its radioactivity.
By how many years did the introduction of women's field hockey as an Olympic sport lag behind that of men's field hockey? 72.
Men's field hockey was introduced to the Olympics in 1908, while women's field hockey was introduced in 1980. This represents a significant disparity in the recognition and inclusion of women in Olympic sports during that period.
Albert Giacometti achieved prominence as what type of artist? Sculptor.
Albert Giacometti, 1901 to 1966, was a Swiss sculptor, painter, draftsman and printmaker. His work is characterized by elongated and attenuated figures, often exploring themes of existentialism and the human condition.
From which nation does the airline lot originate? Poland.
LOT Polish Airlines is the flag carrier of Poland, established in 1929, and plays a significant role in connecting Poland with various international destinations, facilitating trade and tourism.
Who was the first individual to pilot the Friendship 7 spacecraft? John Glenn.
John Glenn, an American astronaut, was the first American to orbit the Earth in Friendship 7 on February 20, 1962, marking a pivotal moment in the space race. His flight demonstrated the United States' growing capabilities in space exploration.
From which country does Gulf Air originate? Bahrain.
Gulf Air is the flag carrier of Bahrain. It was established in 1950 and is headquartered in Muharraq, near Bahrain International Airport.
Who served as West German Chancellor from 1969 to 1974? Willy Brandt.
Willy Brandt was the Chancellor of West Germany from 1969 to 1974, a period marked by his Ostpolitik, aimed at improving relations with East Germany and other Eastern European countries. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1971 for his efforts toward reconciliation.
As which queen did Judi Dench win an Academy Award for her performance in Shakespeare in Love? Elizabeth I.
Judi Dench won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her portrayal of Queen Elizabeth I in Shakespeare in Love. Queen Elizabeth I reigned from 1558 until her death in 1603, a period known as the Elizabethan era.
Which First Lady was required to provide testimony regarding the Whitewater scandal? Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton, as First Lady, faced scrutiny and provided testimony during investigations into the Whitewater scandal, a real estate investment that occurred before her husband's presidency. This event raised questions about potential conflicts of interest and financial impropriety during the Clinton administration.
Regarding which British politician did François Mitterrand remark, "She possesses the mouth of Marilyn Monroe and the eyes of Caligula"? Margaret Thatcher.
François Mitterrand's quote is a commentary on Margaret Thatcher's public image and political style. It highlights the perceived contrast between her glamorous appearance, mouth of Marilyn Monroe, and her strong, sometimes ruthless, political tactics, eyes of Caligula.
Which United States journalist was released following their arrest for espionage in 1986? Nicholas Daniloff.
Nicholas Daniloff, a U.S. News and World Report correspondent, was arrested in Moscow in 1986 on espionage charges, creating a diplomatic crisis during the Cold War. He was eventually released in exchange for a Soviet employee of the United Nations accused of spying in the United States.
Which American commander reached the North Pole on his 6th expedition in 1909? Robert F. Parry.
Robert Edwin Parry, an American explorer, claimed to have reached the geographic North Pole on April 6, 1909. While the accuracy of his claim has been debated, his expedition marked a significant moment in Arctic exploration.
By what name was the infant who received a baboon heart transplant in 1984 known? Baby Faye.
Baby Faye was the pseudonym given to Stephanie Faye Beauclerc, an infant born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome who received a xenotransplant of a baboon heart in 1984. The procedure, while groundbreaking, was ultimately unsuccessful, and Baby Faye lived only 21 days after the transplant.
What was the name of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, spokesperson during the 1999 Kosovo crisis? Jamie Shea.
Jamie Shea served as the NATO spokesperson during the Kosovo War in 1999, providing media briefings and communicating NATO's position on the conflict. His role was crucial in managing public perception of the military intervention.
Which daughter of the last Tsar of Russia was rumored to have survived the execution and escaped to America? Anastasia.
Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolaevna of Russia was one of the daughters of Tsar Nicholas II, who was executed along with his family in 1918. For years, rumors persisted that Anastasia had survived the execution, leading to numerous impostors claiming to be her.
Who founded General Motors in 1908? William C. Durant.
William C. Durant founded General Motors, GM, in 1908, consolidating several independent motorcar manufacturers. GM quickly became a dominant force in the automotive industry, shaping the landscape of transportation and manufacturing.
Which American contralto was the first black singer to appear at the Metropolitan Opera? Marianne Anderson.
Marianne Anderson was a groundbreaking American contralto. Her performance at the Metropolitan Opera in 1955 marked a significant milestone in the history of opera and civil rights.
For which bombing was Timothy McVeigh convicted? Oklahoma City bombing.
Timothy McVeigh was convicted for his role in the Oklahoma City bombing on April 19, 1995. This domestic terrorist attack resulted in 168 deaths and hundreds of injuries, becoming one of the deadliest acts of terrorism in U.S. history.
Who served as Oliver North's secretary during the Iran-Contra affair? Fawn Hall.
Fawn Hall was a secretary to Oliver North during the Iran-Contra affair, a political scandal in the United States that came to light in 1985. She was implicated in helping North conceal documents related to the affair.
In which country did Babrak Karmal and Sultan Ali Kashman serve as prime ministers during the 1990s? Afghanistan.
Babrak Karmal and Sultan Ali Kashman both held the position of prime minister in Afghanistan during the turbulent 1980s and 1990s. This period was marked by Soviet intervention and subsequent civil conflict, significantly impacting Afghanistan's political landscape.
Who was Annie Sullivan's most notable student? Helen Keller.
Annie Sullivan was a dedicated teacher, best known for her work with Helen Keller, who was deaf and blind. Sullivan's innovative teaching methods enabled Keller to learn to communicate, eventually leading her to become a renowned author and activist.
Upon completing her first solo flight across the Pacific Ocean, in which U.S. state did Amelia Earhart land? California.
Amelia Earhart was a pioneering aviator known for her record-breaking flights. Her first solo flight across the Pacific Ocean ended in California, solidifying her place in aviation history and inspiring future generations of pilots. What was the Zaire River called prior to October 27, 1971? Congo. The Zaire River, now known as the Congo River, is the second longest river in Africa, draining a vast basin in Central Africa. The name change occurred in 1971 during the Mobutu Sese Seko regime in Zaire. Who is credited with the discovery of galaxies beyond our own? Edwin Hubble. Edwin Hubble, an American astronomer, revolutionized our understanding of the universe by confirming the existence of galaxies beyond the Milky Way. His observations, particularly his discovery of the relationship between distance and redshift, led to the development of Hubble's law and the Big Bang theory. What is the approximate population of Illinois, to the nearest million? 11,829,950. Illinois, located in the Midwestern United States, is a populous state with a significant urban center in Chicago. Population estimates are crucial for resource allocation, political representation, and understanding demographic trends. In which country is Bukalaf International Airport located? Morocco. Bukalaf International Airport serves Tangier, Morocco. Morocco's location at the crossroads of Europe and Africa gives it geostrategic importance. Which country is represented by the International Vehicle Registration Code, LB? Liberia. International Vehicle Registration Codes are standardized by the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, UNECE. Liberia is a West African nation with a history tied to freed American slaves. In what year was the Kellogg Company established for the production of cornflakes? 1906. The Kellogg Company, founded in 1906, revolutionized the breakfast food industry with the mass production of cornflakes. This innovation contributed significantly to the development of the processed food industry. From which country does the airline Ledeco originate? Chile. Ledeco was a Chilean airline that operated until its merger with LAN Chile, now LATAM Airlines. Understanding regional aviation history offers insights into economic development and infrastructure in South America. Where was the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, headquartered upon its establishment in 1957? Vienna. The International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, founded in 1957, is headquartered in Vienna, Austria. It promotes the peaceful use of nuclear energy and verifies that nuclear energy is not used for military purposes. In which country is Oran International Airport located? Algeria. Oran International Airport serves Oran, Algeria, a major port city. Algeria's location in North Africa gives it strategic importance regarding energy resources and migration routes. Who was buried in Milan under the name Maria Maggi to discourage grave robbers? Eva Perón. Eva Perón, the former First Lady of Argentina, was initially buried in Milan under the alias Maria Maggi to prevent her body from being desecrated or stolen, reflecting the political turmoil surrounding her legacy. This occurred after her death in 1952 and before her eventual repatriation to Argentina. From which country does the airline Transair Airways originate? South Africa. Transair Airways was an airline that operated from the Transair region of South Africa during the apartheid era when Transair was a nominally independent homeland. Its operations reflected the unique political landscape and infrastructure of the time. Which country was the first to mandate the use of catalytic converters in automobiles? Switzerland. Switzerland was the first country to legally require catalytic converters in vehicles to reduce harmful emissions. This pioneering effort highlights Switzerland's early commitment to environmental protection and air quality. In what type of vehicle did Christa McAuliffe perish in an accident in 1986? Space Shuttle. Christa McAuliffe was a teacher and astronaut who died in the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster in 1986. This event led to a temporary halt in the Space Shuttle program and a review of safety protocols. Who was Benazir Bhutto's father, executed in 1979? Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was the Prime Minister of Pakistan before being overthrown in a military coup led by General Zia-ul-Haq. He was subsequently tried and executed, a controversial event in Pakistan's history. Which nations were signatories to the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces, INF, Treaty in 1987? USA and USSR. The INF Treaty, signed by the United States and the Soviet Union, eliminated nuclear and conventional ground-launched ballistic and cruise missiles with intermediate ranges. It was a significant step in reducing Cold War tensions. Which form of capital punishment was abolished by François Mitterrand? Guillotine. François Mitterrand, as President of France, abolished the death penalty in 1981, which included the disuse of the guillotine. France was one of the last Western European countries to abolish capital punishment. Which capital city hosted a major summit between Reagan and Gorbachev in 1986? Reykjavik. The Reykjavik Summit in 1986 between US President Ronald Reagan and Soviet General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev was a crucial meeting in advancing arms control negotiations. Although no formal agreement was reached, it laid the groundwork for the INF Treaty. Which telescope was launched into space aboard a space shuttle in 1990? Hubble. The Hubble Space Telescope, launched in 1990, has revolutionized astronomy by providing high-resolution images of the universe. Its deployment marked a significant advancement in space-based observation capabilities. Against which disease did Jonas Salk develop the Salk vaccine? Polio. Jonas Salk developed the first polio vaccine in 1952. Its widespread use dramatically reduced the incidence of polio, a crippling and often fatal disease, worldwide. Who constructed the world's first laser? Theodore Maiman. Theodore Maiman built the first laser in 1960 at Hughes Research Laboratories. This invention revolutionized various fields, including medicine, telecommunications, and manufacturing. Which Wisconsin salesman developed a safety razor in 1901? King Camp Gillette. King Camp Gillette patented the safety razor in 1904, making disposable blades widely accessible and transforming personal grooming habits. His business model focused on selling affordable razors with inexpensive, replaceable blades. Which country was the first in the world to introduce a driving test? France. France introduced the first driving test in 1893 as a means to regulate the burgeoning automobile industry and ensure a basic level of competence among drivers. This initiative was quickly followed by other nations as motor vehicles became increasingly prevalent. Which city was the HQ of the European Space Program? Paris. Paris serves as the headquarters for the European Space Agency, ESA. ESA plays a pivotal role in coordinating space exploration and research efforts among European nations, and it fosters international collaboration in space-related endeavors. Which country built the first factory to mass-produce rubber tires? Michelin. André Michelin, along with his brother Édouard, established the first factory to mass-produce rubber tires. The Michelin brothers' innovations significantly contributed to the growth of the automotive industry. In 1987, where did teenager Matthias Rust land his plane, causing considerable surprise to the country's authorities? Red Square. In 1987, Matthias Rust, a West German teenager, flew a Cessna 172 from Helsinki to Moscow and landed in Red Square. This event highlighted vulnerabilities in Soviet air defense systems during the Cold War. Which country did Great Britain fight over the Falkland Islands? Argentina. The Falkland Islands War was a 10-week conflict in 1982 between Argentina and the United Kingdom over the Falkland Islands, South Georgia, and the South Sandwich Islands. The war resulted in a British victory and the islands remaining under British control. Which country celebrated its bicentenary in 1988? Australia. Australia celebrated its bicentenary in 1988, marking 200 years since the arrival of the first fleet at Botany Bay in 1788. This event is a significant milestone in Australian history, representing the beginning of European settlement on the continent. Who performed the world's first open-heart operation? J. Gibbon. John Haysham Gibbon Jr. successfully performed the first open-heart surgery in 1953 using a heart-lung machine he developed. This breakthrough revolutionized cardiac surgery, allowing for complex procedures to be performed on a still heart. What type of aircraft is the Hawker Siddeley Harrier? Jump jet. The Hawker Siddeley Harrier is a military jet capable of vertical takeoff and landing, VTOL, making it a unique and versatile aircraft. This capability allows it to operate from unconventional locations, unlike traditional aircraft. What does Volkswagen actually mean? People's car. Volkswagen, a German automotive manufacturer, translates to people's car in English. The company was originally established to produce affordable vehicles for the German population. What does the Trans-Alaska Pipeline System transport? Oil. The Trans-Alaska Pipeline System, TAPS, is designed to transport crude oil across Alaska, primarily from Prudhoe Bay to Valdez. This pipeline is a crucial component of North America's energy infrastructure. What was the name of the world's first nuclear-powered submarine? Nautilus. The USS Nautilus, SSN 571, was the world's first nuclear-powered submarine, commissioned by the United States Navy in 1954. Its nuclear reactor allowed it to remain submerged for extended periods, revolutionizing submarine capabilities. Which American company pioneered electric ignition in motor cars? Cadillac. Cadillac was the first American company to introduce electric ignition in automobiles. This innovation replaced hand cranking, improving safety and convenience for drivers. Who invented the world's first photocopier? Chester Carlson. Chester Carlson invented the first photocopier, originally known as xerography, in 1938. His invention revolutionized document reproduction and led to the widespread use of photocopying technology. Where were the 2002 Winter Olympic Games held? Salt Lake City. The 2002 Winter Olympic Games were held in Salt Lake City, Utah, United States. The Games featured athletes from around the world competing in various winter sports. Which passenger liner carried the first newspaper published in the Mid-Atlantic? Atroria. The Atroria, a Cunard liner, is notable for facilitating the first newspaper published mid-Atlantic, marking a significant advancement in maritime communication. In which hospital was the first artificial heart implantation performed? Pennsylvania Hospital. Pennsylvania Hospital is historically significant as the site of the first artificial heart implantation, a landmark procedure in cardiovascular medicine. To the nearest million, what was the population of the United States in 1910? 92 million. The 1910 United States Census recorded a population of approximately 92 million, reflecting a period of significant growth and urbanization in the country. Which president authored the book, Why England Slept, addressing the rise of fascism? John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy wrote, Why England Slept, based on his senior thesis at Harvard, analyzing the appeasement policy of the British government towards Nazi Germany in the 1930s. It highlights the dangers of neglecting national defense in the face of rising authoritarianism. Where was the first hydrogen bomb detonated in 1952? Eniwetok. The first full-scale thermonuclear weapon, code-named Ivy Mike, was detonated at Eniwetok Atoll in the Marshall Islands in 1952. This test marked a significant advancement in nuclear weapon technology, transitioning from fission to fusion-based devices. In which country is Queen Alia International Airport located? Jordan. Queen Alia International Airport, QAIA, is the primary international airport serving Amman, Jordan. It is named after Queen Alia, the third wife of King Hussein of Jordan, and serves as a major hub for air travel in the region. Which space probe transmitted photographs from Mars in 1965? Mariner 4. Mariner 4 was the first spacecraft to fly by Mars, providing the first close-up images of another planet. These images revealed a cratered, lunar-like surface, significantly altering scientists' understanding of Mars. What was the designation of the United States Army aircraft that achieved a record-breaking non-stop flight of 150 hours in 1929? Question mark. The question mark was a modified Atlantic Fokker C-2 transport aircraft. Its record-breaking flight demonstrated the potential for long-distance air travel and aerial refueling techniques. In what year did regularly scheduled Boeing 707 flights commence across the Atlantic Ocean? 1958. The introduction of the Boeing 707 in 1958 marked a significant advancement in commercial aviation. It ushered in the jet age for transatlantic travel, significantly reducing flight times. Who ascended to the throne as Queen of the Netherlands in 1980? Beatrix. Queen Beatrix succeeded her mother, Queen Juliana, in 1980. Her reign lasted until her abdication in 2013 in favor of her son, Willem Alexander. In what year did the New York City subway system commence operations? 1904. The New York City subway, one of the world's oldest and most extensive public transportation systems, began operations in 1904. It revolutionized urban transportation in New York City. From which country did the airline Aero Lloyd originate? Germany. Aero Lloyd was a German airline that operated primarily charter flights. Founded in 1979, the airline ceased operations in 2003 due to financial difficulties. In which decade was the Benjamin Franklin Bridge inaugurated? 1920s. The Benjamin Franklin Bridge, a suspension bridge connecting Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Camden, New Jersey, opened in 1926. It is a major transportation artery and an iconic landmark. What was the number of inmates remaining in Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary immediately prior to its closure? 27. Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, known for housing notorious criminals, closed in 1963. The low number of remaining prisoners reflects the impending shutdown and transfer of inmates to other facilities. What was the designation of the first weather satellite? TIROS. TIROS, Television Infrared Observation Satellite, was the first weather satellite, launched in 1960. It demonstrated the feasibility of using satellites for meteorological observation and forecasting. In which Australian city was actor Errol Flynn born? Hobart. Errol Flynn, known for his swashbuckling roles, was born in Hobart, Tasmania. Hobart is the capital city of Tasmania, an island state of Australia known for its rugged wilderness and unique flora and fauna. Which country is represented by the International Vehicle Registration Code, KWT? Kuwait. International Vehicle Registration Codes are used to identify the country of origin of a vehicle. Kuwait, a country in the Middle East, uses the code KWT. Which nation shared the World Amateur Baseball Championship with the United States of America in 1973? Cuba. The 1973 World Amateur Baseball Championship was a significant event in international baseball. Sharing the title indicates a high level of competition and parity between the two nations at the time. Where were the inaugural World Athletics Championships held? Helsinki. The first World Athletics Championships were held in Helsinki, Finland in 1983. This event marked the beginning of a biennial competition showcasing global athletic talent across various track and field events. Where was the location of the Rumble in the Jungle boxing match between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman in Zaire in 1974? Jungle. The Rumble in the Jungle was a historic boxing match held in Kinshasa, Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of Congo, in 1974. It is remembered for Ali's innovative, rope-a-dope, strategy and his eventual victory. In which country is the Curragh located? Ireland. The Curragh is a significant plain in County Kildare, Ireland, renowned for its rich history, archaeological sites, and primarily its use as the premier horse racing location in Ireland. The Curragh racecourse hosts numerous important flat races. Into how many separate gems was the fabulous Cullinan diamond cut? 105. The Cullinan diamond, the largest gem-quality rough diamond ever found, was cut into 105 separate gems. The largest of these, Cullinan I, also known as the Great Star of Africa, is mounted in the sovereign's scepter. Where is the University of New Hampshire located? Durham. The University of New Hampshire, UNH, is a public research university located in Durham, New Hampshire. It is the flagship university of the University System of New Hampshire. To the nearest 1,000, what is the area of Georgia in square miles? 58,900 square miles. Georgia, located in the southeastern United States, covers approximately 58,900 square miles. The state's diverse geography ranges from mountains in the north to coastal plains along the Atlantic Ocean. From which country does the airline Tower Air originate? USA. Tower Air was a US-based airline that operated from 1983 to 2000, providing both domestic and international flights. The airline was headquartered in New York City and served various destinations before ceasing operations. In which country is the Bundorf Bridge located? Germany. The Bundorf Bridge is situated in Germany, specifically spanning the Rhine River near Koblenz. It is a significant transportation link in the region, facilitating movement across the river. Vehicles from which country use the international registration letters WAL? Sierra Leone. International registration letters are used to identify the country of origin for vehicles. The letters WAL are assigned to vehicles registered in Sierra Leone, a country in West Africa. In World War II, what was the meaning of the term kamikaze? Wind of the Gods. Kamikaze was a Japanese term used to describe suicide attacks by military aviators during World War II. It translates literally to divine wind, and references a typhoon that saved Japan from Mongol invasion in the 13th century. What is the name of the island off the coast of Iceland that emerged in 1963 as a result of an underwater volcanic eruption? Surtsey. Surtsey is a volcanic island located off the southern coast of Iceland. It was formed in a volcanic eruption that started in 1963 and lasted until 1967. To the nearest 10,000 square miles, what is the area of the state of Arizona? 114,000 square miles. Arizona, located in the southwestern United States, has a total area of approximately 113,990 square miles. This makes it the sixth largest state in the country. In which state is Creighton University located? Nebraska. Creighton University is a private Jesuit university located in Omaha, Nebraska. It was founded in 1878 and offers a range of undergraduate and graduate programs. From which country does the airline Noronte originate? Canada. Norontair is a regional airline based in Ontario, Canada. It primarily serves communities in northern Ontario with scheduled passenger and charter services. Which incident significantly escalated United States involvement in the Vietnam War? Tonkin Gulf Incident. The Tonkin Gulf Incident, which occurred in August 1964, involved alleged attacks on U.S. Navy destroyers by North Vietnamese forces. The resulting Gulf of Tonkin resolution granted President Lyndon B. Johnson broad authority to escalate U.S. military involvement in Vietnam. What are the international registration letters assigned to vehicles from Tanzania? EAT. The international registration letters, EAT, are assigned to vehicles registered in Tanzania according to international standards for vehicle identification. These codes are utilized for distinguishing the country of origin of vehicles internationally. Who attempted to assassinate President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1933? Giuseppe Zanjara. Giuseppe Zanjara, an unemployed bricklayer, attempted to assassinate President-elect Franklin D. Roosevelt on February 15, 1933, in Miami, Florida. His motive stemmed from general frustration with societal conditions, and while he failed to kill Roosevelt, he wounded several others. Whom did Mrs. Thatcher describe as a man we can do business with? Mikhail Gorbachev. Margaret Thatcher made the statement, "I like Mr. Gorbachev. We can do business together," in 1984, signaling a shift in Western perception of the Soviet Union. This marked a crucial step in the eventual thawing of Cold War tensions. How is Tenzin Gyatso better known? The Dalai Lama. Tenzin Gyatso is the 14th Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism. The Dalai Lama is considered to be the successor in a line of Tulkas who are believed to be incarnations of Avalokiteshvar, the Bodhisattva of compassion. By what name was Nguyen That Than more widely known? Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh, born Nguyen That Than, was a Vietnamese revolutionary and statesman. He served as Prime Minister and President of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. His leadership was instrumental in establishing the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. Whom did the Americans recognize as the ruler of Vietnam in 1950 when the Soviets acknowledged Ho Chi Minh? Bao Dai. In 1950, amidst the Cold War tensions, the United States recognized Bao Dai as the ruler of Vietnam, while the Soviet Union recognized Ho Chi Minh. This reflected the divided political landscape of Vietnam at the time. Who was the defeated presidential candidate in the 1900 U.S. election? William Jennings Bryan. William Jennings Bryan, a prominent figure in the late 19th and early 20th century American politics, was defeated in the 1900 U.S. presidential election by William McKinley. Bryan was a three-time presidential candidate, advocating for populist causes. Who replaced MacArthur as UN commander in Korea? General Ridgway. General Matthew Ridgway replaced General Douglas MacArthur as the UN commander in Korea during the Korean War. This change occurred after MacArthur publicly disagreed with President Truman's policies, leading to his removal from command. Who became the first president of Israel? Chaim Weizmann. Chaim Weizmann served as the first president of Israel. He was a biochemist and Zionist leader who played a key role in the establishment of the State of Israel. Who was the Pope during World War II? Pius XII. Pope Pius XII served as the head of the Catholic Church during the tumultuous period of World War II. His actions and stance during the war remain a subject of historical debate. Who was the youngest U.S. Vice President of the 20th century? Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon holds the distinction of being the youngest U.S. Vice President of the 20th century. He served under President Dwight D. Eisenhower from 1953 to 1961 before later becoming president himself. Who assumed the presidency of Romania following the execution of Nicolae Ceausescu? Ion Iliescu. Ion Iliescu became president of Romania in December 1989 after the Romanian Revolution, which led to the overthrow and execution of Nicolae Ceausescu. Iliescu's presidency marked a transition period for Romania as it moved towards a democratic system. Who was the mayor of New York City during the race riots of 1968? John Lindsay. John Lindsay served as the mayor of New York City from 1966 to 1973. His tenure coincided with a period of significant social unrest and urban challenges, including race riots. Who formulated the so-called Sinatra Doctrine, advocating that foreign policy should be constructed on a my way basis? Eduard Shevardnadze. Eduard Shevardnadze, as the Soviet foreign minister under Mikhail Gorbachev, is associated with the concept of allowing Warsaw Pact states to determine their own internal affairs. This policy, sometimes referred to as the Sinatra Doctrine, signaled a shift away from Soviet interventionism. Which United States president made the decision to establish a naval station at Pearl Harbor? William Taft. President William Howard Taft authorized the establishment of a naval base at Pearl Harbor in 1909. This decision was driven by strategic considerations regarding the United States' growing naval power and its interests in the Pacific region. Which part of their bodies did Václav Havel and British King George VI both lose? Lung. Both Václav Havel, the former president of Czechoslovakia and the Czech Republic, and King George VI of the United Kingdom suffered from lung-related health issues. Havel had a lung removed due to cancer, while King George VI suffered from lung cancer, exacerbated by heavy smoking. Who was the first president of the United States to visit Great Britain? Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was the first sitting U.S. president to visit Great Britain, doing so in 1918-1919 after the conclusion of World War I. His visit was part of his effort to promote the League of Nations. Who was Oliver North's immediate supervisor who admitted to authorizing the funding of the Contra rebels in Nicaragua? John Poindexter. John Poindexter, as the National Security Advisor under President Ronald Reagan, admitted to authorizing the diversion of funds to support the Contra rebels in Nicaragua. This action was a central aspect of the Iran-Contra affair, which involved the illegal sale of arms to Iran in exchange for the release of American hostages. Which former president of the United States died shortly after the death of Harry S. Truman? Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson, the 36th President of the United States, passed away in 1973, shortly after the death of his predecessor, Harry S. Truman, who died in late 1972. Johnson's presidency was defined by the Great Society programs and the escalation of the Vietnam War. Who was the first Democratic president of the 20th century? Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson, elected in 1912, was the first Democratic president of the 20th century. His presidency was marked by significant reforms, including the establishment of the Federal Reserve System and the passage of antitrust legislation. Who was North Vietnam's chief negotiator at the 1973 Paris Peace Accords? Le Duc Tho. Le Duc Tho served as the chief negotiator for North Vietnam during the Paris Peace Accords in 1973, which aimed to end the Vietnam War. While a ceasefire was established, Tho and Henry Kissinger were jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, which Tho declined to accept. Who was the first president to be elected for a third four-year term? Franklin D. Roosevelt. Franklin D. Roosevelt broke the two-term tradition, serving from 1933 until his death in 1945. The 22nd Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1951, formally limited presidents to two terms. Which Secretary of State under Truman helped formulate the Marshall Plan? Dean Acheson. Dean Acheson, as Secretary of State, played a critical role in designing the Marshall Plan after World War II. This initiative provided substantial economic assistance to rebuild Western Europe, fostering stability and preventing the spread of communism. Which state did Senator Joe McCarthy represent? Wisconsin. Senator Joseph McCarthy represented Wisconsin and is known for his controversial anti-communist crusade during the early 1950s. His tactics, characterized by unsubstantiated accusations, became known as McCarthyism. Whom did Roosevelt defeat when he won the 1932 election? Herbert Hoover. Franklin D. Roosevelt defeated Herbert Hoover in the 1932 presidential election, amid the Great Depression. Roosevelt's victory signaled a shift in American politics towards greater government intervention in the economy. Which president gave the go-ahead to build an H-bomb? Truman. President Harry S. Truman authorized the development of the hydrogen bomb, H-bomb. This decision, made during the Cold War, significantly escalated the arms race with the Soviet Union. Who participated in the first televised debate between two presidential candidates? Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy. Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy participated in the first televised presidential debate in 1960. This event marked a turning point in political campaigning, highlighting the importance of image and television presence. Who was the oldest U.S. president before Ronald Reagan? Dwight D. Eisenhower. Dwight D. Eisenhower was the oldest U.S. president before Ronald Reagan, serving 2 terms and leaving office in 1961. His farewell address warned of the growing power of the military-industrial complex. From which state was Dan Quayle a senator when he was chosen as George H. W. Bush's vice president? Indiana. Dan Quayle was a senator representing Indiana when he was selected as George H. W. Bush's running mate in the 1988 presidential election. They subsequently won the election, making Quayle the vice president. Where was Lyndon B. Johnson when he first took the presidential oath? Air Force One. Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in as president aboard Air Force One following the assassination of John F. Kennedy in November 1963. The swearing-in ceremony took place at Love Field in Dallas, Texas. Where did Reagan and Gorbachev hold their Star Wars summit in October 1986? Iceland. Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev met in Reykjavik, Iceland, in October 1986 for a summit focused on arms control. Although no agreements were reached, the meeting paved the way for the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces, INF, Treaty. Who was Walter Mondale's running mate in the 1984 United States presidential election? Geraldine Ferraro. Geraldine Ferraro was the first female vice presidential candidate representing a major United States political party. Her selection by Walter Mondale marked a significant moment in American political history, though they were ultimately defeated by Ronald Reagan and George H. W. Bush. Who served as Ronald Reagan's first Secretary of State? Alexander Haig. Alexander Haig served as the 59th United States Secretary of State under President Ronald Reagan. His tenure was marked by strong anti-communist stances and a focus on Cold War foreign policy. Who led the delegation representing the United States at the Paris peace talks in May 1968? Averell Harriman. Averell Harriman, a seasoned diplomat, led the U.S. delegation at the Paris peace talks aimed at negotiating an end to the Vietnam War. The talks were complex and protracted, involving multiple parties and various proposals for resolution. How many points outlining peace objectives did President Woodrow Wilson articulate in his address to Congress in 1918? 14. President Woodrow Wilson's 14 points speech in 1918 outlined his vision for a post-World War I world. These principles advocated for self-determination, open diplomacy, and the establishment of the League of Nations. In which state in the United States of America were the Summer Olympic Games held at the conclusion of the 20th century? Georgia. The 1996 Summer Olympics, the last of the 20th century, were held in Atlanta, Georgia. These games marked the centennial of the modern Olympic Games and featured significant events and achievements. Which Defense Department initially established the messaging system that evolved into the Internet? Pentagon. The U.S. Department of Defense, through its Advanced Research Projects Agency, ARPA, initiated the development of ARPANET in the late 1960s. This network served as the foundation for what would eventually become the Internet, driven by research and communication needs. How many bits comprise a byte? 8. A byte is a fundamental unit of digital information in computing and telecommunications. It is typically composed of 8 bits, representing a single character or a small numerical value. AltaVista is categorized as what type of resource? Search engine. AltaVista was one of the earliest and most prominent web search engines. It allowed users to locate information on the World Wide Web by indexing a vast number of web pages. What is the primary function of a data glove? Allows people to touch over long distances. A data glove is an input device that captures and transmits hand and finger movements, often used in virtual reality and teleoperation applications. It facilitates interaction with virtual environments and remote objects, simulating the sense of touch. What is a message sent to a news group on the Internet called? Article. An article is a posting to a news group or online forum. Newsgroups are discussion systems on the Internet where users can read and post articles on specific topics. What does a bitmap consist of? Dots. A bitmap is a digital image composed of a matrix of dots. Each dot, also known as a pixel, represents a specific color, and the arrangement of these pixels creates the overall image. If edu appears at the end of an Internet address, what type of institution is the host computer associated with? College or university. The .edu domain is a sponsored top-level domain, STLD, in the domain name system, DNS, of the Internet. It is specifically designated for educational institutions, primarily colleges and universities, in the United States. What was the name of the first satellite to relay live television pictures between the USA and Europe? Telstar. Telstar 1 was the first active communications satellite. Launched in 1962, it successfully relayed live television images, telephone calls, and data between the United States and Europe, marking a significant milestone in satellite communication technology. What does the Q stand for in FAQ? Question. FAQ stands for Frequently Asked Questions. It is a list of common questions and their answers, designed to provide quick and easy information to users on a particular topic. What term is applied to a program engineered to inflict harm by integrating itself into other programs? Virus. A computer virus is a type of malicious software that, when executed, replicates itself by modifying other computer programs and inserting its own code. This can lead to data corruption, system failure, and security breaches. In what year did the centennial anniversary of California's admission to the Union occur? 1950. California was admitted to the Union as the 31st state on September 9, 1850. Therefore, the centennial celebration took place in 1950, marking 100 years of statehood. In what institutional setting was William Kellogg employed when he conceived the idea of marketing cornflakes? Hospital. William Kellogg developed cornflakes while working at the Battle Creek Sanitarium with his brother, Dr. John Harvey Kellogg. The sanitarium promoted a vegetarian diet and healthy lifestyle, leading to the creation of this popular breakfast cereal. In which country is the Amilcar Cabral International Airport located? Cape Verde. Amilcar Cabral International Airport is the primary airport of Cape Verde, located on Sal Island. Named after the prominent Pan-Africanist leader, Amilcar Cabral, the airport serves as a key transportation hub for the archipelago nation. In which city is the University of Delaware located? Newark. The University of Delaware, a land grant, sea grant, and space grant institution, is located in Newark, Delaware. Founded in 1743, it is one of the oldest institutions of higher education in the United States. Which country's invasion of Ethiopia in 1935 compelled Haile Selassie to seek exile? Italy. Italy invaded Ethiopia in 1935, a key event leading to World War II and demonstrating the ineffectiveness of the League of Nations. Haile Selassie's subsequent address to the League is a notable historical moment. In which country is the Augusto C. Sandino International Airport located? Nicaragua. The Augusto C. Sandino International Airport is Nicaragua's primary international airport. It is named after Augusto Cesar Sandino, a Nicaraguan revolutionary and leader of the Sandinista National Liberation Front. From which country does the airline Air Littoral originate? France. Air Littoral was a French regional airline based in Montpellier, France. It operated from 1972 until it ceased operations in 2004 due to financial difficulties, serving destinations mainly within France and Europe. In which country was Emilio Estevez born? USA. Emilio Estevez, an American actor, director, and writer, was born in the United States. Estevez is known for his roles in various films during the 1980s, often associated with the Brat Pack. In which art form did New York-born Sir Jacob Epstein primarily work? Sculpture. Sir Jacob Epstein, 1880–1959, was a prominent sculptor who contributed significantly to the development of modern sculpture. His works often explored themes of religion, mythology, and the human form. In what year was the centennial anniversary of Colorado's admission to the Union observed? 1976. Colorado became the 38th state in the United States on August 1, 1876. The centennial celebration in 1976 marked 100 years of statehood and involved various events and commemorations. In which country is the Angostura Bridge located? Venezuela. The Angostura Bridge spans the Orinoco River in Venezuela. It is a crucial transportation link connecting the northern and southern parts of the country and facilitates trade and commerce. In which country did the Gang of Four seize power during the 1970s? China. The Gang of Four was a powerful political faction in China during the Cultural Revolution, 1966–1976. Their influence ended after Mao Zedong's death and their subsequent arrest, marking a significant turning point in Chinese politics. What was the nationality of the composer Aaron Copland? American. Aaron Copland, 1900–1990, was an influential American composer known for his distinctly American sound. His works, such as Appalachian Spring, often incorporated folk melodies and themes. What was the occupation of Edith Cavell, who was executed by the Germans during World War I? Nurse. Edith Cavell was a British nurse who was executed by a German firing squad in 1915 for helping Allied soldiers escape from German-occupied Belgium during World War I. She became a symbol of courage and humanitarianism. For what profession did Satyajit Ray achieve fame? Film director. Satyajit Ray, 1921–1992, was an Indian filmmaker, widely regarded as one of the greatest filmmakers of the 20th century. He is known for his humanist approach to filmmaking and his realistic portrayal of Indian society. How many Nobel Prizes did Marie Curie win? 2. Marie Curie was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903 for her work on radioactivity and the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1911 for the discovery of polonium and radium. She is the only person to win Nobel Prizes in two different scientific fields. In which country is the deepwater port of Belém located? Brazil. The port of Belém is a significant deepwater port situated in Brazil, serving as a crucial hub for trade and transportation in the Amazon River basin. It plays a vital role in the export of commodities from the region. Across which mountain range does the Chinook wind primarily blow? Rocky Mountains. Chinook winds are warm, dry winds that descend the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains. They are known for their rapid temperature increases and ability to melt snow quickly. Who was the most recent Democrat before Bill Clinton to be re-elected for a second term as U.S. President? Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, was the only Democratic president before Bill Clinton to be re-elected for a second term in the 20th century. He served from 1933 until his death in 1945, leading the United States through the Great Depression and World War II. For what art form did Georgia O'Keeffe become famous? Painting. Georgia O'Keeffe, 1887 to 1986, was a renowned American modernist painter. She is celebrated for her large-format depictions of flowers, New Mexico landscapes, and architectural forms. Which Russian writer authored the novel Cancer Ward? Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, 1918 to 2008, was a Russian writer and Nobel laureate. Cancer Ward *, published in 1968, is a semi-autobiographical novel exploring the experiences of patients in a Soviet cancer clinic, reflecting the political and social issues of the time. If it is noon in Ohio, what time is it in Nevada? 9 a.m. Ohio observes Eastern Time, ET, while Nevada observes Pacific Time, PT. Pacific Time is 3 hours behind Eastern Time. In which country is Burgas International Airport located? Bulgaria. Burgas International Airport is the second largest airport in Bulgaria, located near Burgas, a major city on the Black Sea coast. Bulgaria joined the European Union in 2007. Whom did Pope John Paul II succeed as Pope? John Paul I. Pope John Paul II succeeded Pope John Paul I, whose papacy lasted only 33 days in 1978. John Paul II's long papacy, 1978 to 2005, had a significant impact on the Catholic Church and global politics. What was the full first name of the president who gave his name to teddy bears? Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States, is the namesake of the teddy bear. The name originated from an incident during a bear hunting trip in 1902. From which country did Donald Woods escape in 1979, an event later depicted in the film, Cry Freedom? South Africa. Donald Woods, a South African journalist and anti-apartheid activist, escaped from South Africa in 1977 after being banned for his activism. Cry Freedom is a 1987 film that recounts his experiences and the story of Stephen Biko. Which Austrian wrote The Psychopathology of Everyday Life? Freud. Sigmund Freud, an Austrian neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis, wrote The Psychopathology of Everyday Life in 1901. The book explores the psychological roots of everyday slips of the tongue, memory lapses, and other common errors. Which Chinese leader's widow was arrested for attempting to overthrow the government in the 1970s? Mao Zedong. Jiang Qing, the widow of Mao Zedong, was arrested in 1976 for her role in the Gang of Four. The Gang of Four was a political faction that wielded significant power during the Cultural Revolution in China. Who became the first woman prime minister of an Islamic nation? Benazir Bhutto. Benazir Bhutto served as the Prime Minister of Pakistan from 1988 to 1990 and again from 1993 to 1996, making her the first woman to lead a Muslim-majority nation. Her political career was marked by both democratic reforms and allegations of corruption. In what country was Pablo Picasso born, prior to his move to Paris in 1901? Spain. Pablo Picasso, a highly influential Spanish painter, sculptor, printmaker, ceramicist, and theater designer, was born in Malaga, Spain. His move to Paris in 1901 marked a significant period in his artistic development, contributing to the rise of Cubism. Who published the general theory of relativity in 1915? Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein published his general theory of relativity in 1915, fundamentally changing our understanding of gravity as a curvature in space-time caused by mass and energy. This theory has had profound implications for cosmology, astrophysics, and our understanding of the universe. Who succeeded Mary Robinson as President of Ireland in 1997? Mary McAleese. Mary McAleese succeeded Mary Robinson as President of Ireland in 1997, becoming the 8th President of Ireland. She served 2 terms, focusing on reconciliation and social inclusion during her presidency. Which future president delivered the famous Chequers speech in 1952? Richard Nixon. The Chequers speech, delivered by then vice presidential candidate Richard Nixon in 1952, defended him against allegations of improper campaign contributions. It is considered a landmark event in the use of television in politics. Who succeeded Lal Bahadur Shastri as Prime Minister of India? Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi succeeded Lal Bahadur Shastri as Prime Minister of India in 1966, becoming the first female Prime Minister of India. Her tenure was marked by significant events such as the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971 and the emergency. Which Russian leader imposed a reign of terror during the 1930s and 1940s? Stalin. Joseph Stalin, the leader of the Soviet Union, initiated the Great Purge in the 1930s, a period of political repression and mass executions. His policies and actions resulted in millions of deaths. In the 1960s, Queen Elizabeth II dedicated an acre of ground in memory of which American? President Kennedy. Following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963, Queen Elizabeth II dedicated an acre of land at Runnymede, England, to his memory. The memorial serves as a symbol of the enduring friendship between the United States and the United Kingdom. Who led India to overthrow British rule by non-violent means? Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi led the Indian independence movement through non-violent civil disobedience, advocating for peaceful resistance against British colonial rule. His philosophy of satyagraha profoundly influenced India's struggle for freedom and inspired movements for civil rights worldwide. Who led a government in Italy during the 1920s and later became its dictator? Benito Mussolini. Benito Mussolini rose to power in Italy, becoming prime minister in 1922 and establishing a fascist dictatorship. His regime was characterized by totalitarian control and aggressive foreign policy. Who led Operation Eagle Claw, the attempt to rescue the U.S. Embassy hostages in Tehran? Colonel, Charging, Charlie Beckworth. Operation Eagle Claw was a U.S. military operation in 1980 to rescue 52 American hostages held in Tehran, Iran. The operation was a failure, resulting in casualties and further straining U.S.-Iran relations. Who led Argentina through most of the 1990s? Carlos Menem. Carlos Menem served as president of Argentina from 1989 to 1999. His tenure was marked by significant economic reforms, including privatization and currency stabilization measures. What relation was Henry Ford II to Henry Ford? Grandson. Henry Ford II, also known as Hank the Deuce, played a significant role in shaping the Ford Motor Company after World War II. He was instrumental in bringing the company back from near financial ruin and introducing iconic models. Which world leader married Graca Machel in 1998? Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, a global icon of peace and reconciliation, married Graca Machel in 1998. Machel was previously married to Samora Machel, the first president of Mozambique, highlighting her significant role in African politics. Salvador Allende was elected president of which country in 1970? Chile. Salvador Allende, a socialist politician, was elected president of Chile in 1970. His presidency was characterized by efforts to nationalize industries and implement socialist policies, which ultimately led to a military coup in 1973. What was the profession of President Jean-Bertrand Aristide of Haiti? Priest. Jean-Bertrand Aristide, a former Catholic priest, served as the president of Haiti on multiple occasions. His political career was marked by periods of popularity and controversy, reflecting the complex socio-political landscape of Haiti. Who did Idi Amin depose in 1971? Milton Obote. Idi Amin overthrew Milton Obote in a military coup in 1971, marking the beginning of Amin's brutal regime in Uganda. Obote had previously served as Prime Minister and President of Uganda after its independence. Hafez al-Assad was the first democratically elected president of which country? Syria. Hafez al-Assad was not the first democratically elected president of Syria. His rise to power occurred through a military coup in 1970. He subsequently held the presidency until his death in 2000, establishing a long period of authoritarian rule. Which Russian leader was interred in his family's vault in 1998? Tsar Nicholas II. Tsar Nicholas II, the last emperor of Russia, was executed along with his family in 1918. Their remains were discovered in 1979, but were only formally identified and reburied in the family vault in St. Petersburg in 1998. Who served as the final Prime Minister of Britain during the 20th century? Tony Blair. Tony Blair served as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom from 1997 to 2007. His tenure marked a significant period in British politics, bridging the 20th and 21st centuries. Which Yuri served as President of the USSR for 2 years after heading the KGB for 15 years? Andropov. Yuri Andropov was a Soviet politician and General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union from 1982 to 1984. His prior role as head of the KGB highlights the intersection of intelligence and political power in the Soviet system. Who succeeded King Hussein as the King of Jordan? Abdullah. King Abdullah II is the current King of Jordan, ascending to the throne in 1999 after the death of his father, King Hussein. The transition of power marked a continuation of Hashemite rule in Jordan. Which British Prime Minister signed the Anglo-Irish Agreement in 1985? Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher, as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, signed the Anglo-Irish Agreement in 1985. The agreement aimed to foster cooperation between the UK and Ireland to resolve the conflict in Northern Ireland. Which Middle Eastern country was led by Michel Aoun from 1988 to 1990 during a period of instability? Lebanon. Michel Aoun's leadership in Lebanon from 1988 to 1990 occurred during a tumultuous period marked by civil conflict and political division. This period is significant for understanding Lebanon's contemporary political landscape. Who, along with Yasser Arafat and Yitzhak Rabin, received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1994? Shimon Peres. Shimon Peres, Yasser Arafat, and Yitzhak Rabin were jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1994 for their efforts in establishing the Oslo Accords. These accords aimed to create a framework for peace between Israel and Palestine. Which French Prime Minister's funeral in 1996 was attended by both his wife and his mistress? François Mitterrand. François Mitterrand, President of France from 1981 to 1995, was a significant figure in European politics. The attendance of both his wife and mistress at his funeral highlights a controversial aspect of his personal life. Who succeeded Anwar Sadat as President of Egypt? Hosni Mubarak. Hosni Mubarak succeeded Anwar Sadat as President of Egypt in 1981, following Sadat's assassination. Mubarak's long tenure as president significantly shaped Egypt's domestic and foreign policies for 3 decades. Who did the Spice Girls cite as their girl power role model in 1996? Margaret Thatcher. In 1996, the Spice Girls identified Margaret Thatcher as their girl power role model. This is an interesting fact in understanding popular culture's interpretation of political figures. Which South African president repealed key parts of apartheid law in 1991? F.W. de Klerk. F.W. de Klerk, as President of South Africa, played a crucial role in dismantling apartheid. In 1991, he repealed key apartheid laws, paving the way for a multiracial democracy and the release of Nelson Mandela. In which city is the Glenwiven Art Gallery and Museum located? Swansea. The Glenwiven Art Gallery and Museum is located in Swansea, Wales. It houses a collection of art spanning several centuries and offers insights into the cultural heritage of the region. What is the second largest of the Ionian Islands? Corfu. Corfu, located off the coast of Albania and Greece, is indeed the second largest of the Ionian Islands. The Ionian Islands are known for their beautiful beaches, historical sites, and lush landscapes, making them a popular tourist destination. On which underground system was a new breed of mosquito discovered in 1998? London. In 1998, a unique mosquito species, Culex pipiens molestus, was identified within the London underground system. This distinct mosquito population has adapted to the subterranean environment. By what other name is the Eurotunnel known? Channel Tunnel. The Eurotunnel, also known as the Channel Tunnel or Channel, is a 50.5 km underwater railway tunnel connecting Folkestone, Kent, in the United Kingdom, with Coquelles, past the Calais, near Calais in northern France. It is a vital transportation link facilitating both passenger and freight travel between the UK and continental Europe. In which country was the Angel of the North erected in 1998? England. The Angel of the North, a contemporary sculpture by Anthony Gormley, was erected in 1998 in Gateshead, England. It is a prominent landmark representing the region's industrial heritage and aspirations for the future. What is the largest city in Switzerland? Zurich. Zurich is the largest city in Switzerland and a major global center for banking and finance. Despite not being the capital, which is Bern, Zurich is a significant economic and cultural hub within the country. What is the name of the oldest university in Northern Ireland, founded in 1908? Queen's University. Queen's University Belfast, established in 1908, is a prestigious institution of higher education located in Northern Ireland. It is a member of the Russell Group, signifying its focus on research-led teaching. Which British architect, in collaboration with Renzo Piano, was responsible for the design of the renowned Pompidou Centre in Paris? Richard Rogers. Richard Rogers, later Lord Rogers, was a prominent British architect known for his modernist and functionalist designs. His collaboration with Renzo Piano on the Pompidou Centre in Paris revolutionized museum design, emphasizing transparency and flexibility. In which European city are the Bardini Museum and the Bargello Museum located? Florence. Florence, Italy, is renowned for its rich artistic heritage and houses numerous world-class museums. The Bardini Museum features a diverse collection of art and artifacts, while the Bargello Museum showcases Italian Renaissance sculpture. Anishmore belongs to which island group? Aran Islands. The Aran Islands are a group of 3 islands located at the mouth of Galway Bay, Ireland. Anishmore is the largest of these islands and is known for its ancient stone forts and rugged landscape. What is the name of the lake that was formed when the Zuiderzee was enclosed and reclaimed in 1932? IJsselmeer. The IJsselmeer is a shallow artificial lake in the Netherlands, created by enclosing the Zuiderzee with the Afsluitdijk Dam in 1932. This land reclamation project significantly altered the geography of the Netherlands.